ka-ching, this acrylic dip, which is 4 canvases combined to create one canvas that is 16 feet long. This is one of my more recent paintings and one of my favorite paintings. And I like one of the things I like about it, again, you can see the sizing on the canvas, the flat white paint, and the gloss or semi-gloss white paint. I've got flat black, I've got gloss black, I've got a burgundy color, and then that even shows through as you walk past the painting. Depending on the lighting, you will see what has been overpainted, and that still becomes part of the painting and a texture. So there is so much happening in this painting, yet I wanted something more emphatic, and that's why I went with the dark, well, with the black heavy strokes at the top of the canvas as a counterbalance to all this flight of activity that covers the balance of the canvas. So when viewed from a distance, it has a totally different effect, but you want to walk up to it. You want to walk up and you want to inspect. You want to see, you want to say, what exactly is going on here? You know, what is it about this painting that I like? Or what is it about this painting that I don't care for? And that is typically true of almost every painting that has been done. For example, this one was just done on a lark. It actually is over a store-bought painting that came with the frame. And after a while, having the store-bought painting just didn't fit the house. And so we covered it with white and did this expressive painting on it. This one over here, if I may add a little light, is one of my black on white with a brush, which many of my paintings are brush, many of them are palette knife, and those are probably my favorite implements to work with. So we have over here in the corner, thinking again that color would be attractive to, in particular, women. And as you can see, the color is very dynamic, it's very emphatic on this painting. And this is part of a series. I have one in another room back this way, and if we can step this way, this painting is called Passage, and as you can see, this was the inspiration for this garment. And the painting without garment is again unusual in the respect that the background, I've had other artists say, how did you do the background? And I'm not sure I should tell you, but basically it creates a veil that is almost infinite in depth. And then this painting over it with the white and various colors I found very interesting to work with. And I have since done 2 more that will go with me to Santa Fe in July. This one was done in a similar fashion, where it appears that the background is something other than what it is, but the flurry of activity, and there's so much action going on in this painting that it does command a space, command the wall that it is on. Paintings here, Silver Surf 1 and Silver Surf 2, and these were actually done using a wadded up napkin to do the textured background, and then using acrylic paint in a bottle to do the lines in here. And then what would this be? That would be your red dot.
Jewel, let's shoot this one again. For some reason that shows.
This one over here?
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and okay, I'll come to you just in case. All right.
And I have a painting here that I titled REM for Rapid Eye Movement. And it's because one evening I was sitting in the other room looking out the windows at the disappearing sunlight and closed my eyes and could see the reverse image of this on my eyelids. And it was such a neat design that I felt compelled to paint it. And so I got up, interrupted my evening rest, and pulled out a canvas in the gallery and put this on the canvas. I came back later and softened the edges because the dark was too irregular. I felt that it needed another touch, and then added the white sweeps as sort of a curiosity, and then as a centerpiece, an attraction where your eye tends to go first, the yellow dot. So you cannot avoid that yellow dot, and it does draw you into the picture and holds you here, at least momentarily. Whether this is your style or not, it has that effect. And then this painting, I have several paintings in here, and this one I did in 1995, and I just curiously called it Mac Struck because it just reminded me of a Jersey cow having met the grill of a Mack truck. And you are the first to know where the name for this painting came from, even though it has been here since 1995. And then I have smaller paintings here and here, Flight Path over here, and these are done with, this one is done with a palette knife, this one is done with a brush, and can either be hung framed or unframed. And Adagio, it I constantly find myself in communion with the canvas untouched. And we look at each other, and it's almost as if the canvas is enticing me to make a decision. And that decision is, what first stroke will you apply to me? And that is one of the most exciting moments, where you have this fresh opportunity to create something not done before. You are at the edge of creativity and must decide where that first stroke will be. And having in mind also, wouldn't it be nice if this painting could be finished with one stroke? So I've attempted to do that in a number of paintings, and it's referred to typically as minimalism. And you may have noticed the spirit in this painting. So I do enjoy letting a lot of the canvas show and focusing on something that does not exceed the limits of the canvas. I've played with that over and over again in every painting. You know, just the trick for most artists when they paint is knowing when to stop, when you're done, when not to touch the painting one more time. And if we can head this direction. I'll stand in the dark, but this was a tribute to my wife. I call it Peg because she had such a fluid movement to her, and that's what I saw in this painting. Now, I did not start out to name this painting after her, but when I got back and looked at it, the gestures are here, and it looks very feminine, very elegant, and full of motion. A smaller painting, harder to see. This one, which I named Hallmark, not after the card company, but because it's a mark in my hall. But I diverge. One of my favorite paintings is behind you. And it is called Spontaneous Release. And I actually did this one in a smaller version prior, and liked the technique. And it's almost like throwing a baseball. I mean, it's like there's this wind up and then this enormous quick action where you throw the ball. And this painting was done like that. This hung in a local art show, and I got to see people look at this painting, and most of them just walked by. And then a family, a husband and wife and son, stopped, and you could see the husband pointing to it, and they were talking, almost whispering to it. And I was across the hall, and I spoke out and I said, "Do you like that painting?" And the gentleman turned and he says, "Is this yours?" And I said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "Most people just walk on by, glance and walk on by." And he looked at me and approached me and almost whispered in my ear, "They just don't understand." So, what better compliment could I ask for? This painting, again, was done with acrylic on watercolor paper, using a napkin to begin with, and then again a bottle of acrylic paint for this. There's the spirit, and there was one in the other one, the previous one also. And this one is about to be hung in a special event in Boonville, Missouri with the Friends of Historic Boonville. And this will be one of 2 paintings that I have on display at that upcoming event. So, this is my office. This is where I do my paperwork. I have my computer in here. And the last 2 paintings I did are called Cynthia's Dream. And they are these 2 paintings, which can be hung as and sold as separate paintings. And they can be hung vertically, either stacked on top of each other, or if someone wants to buy only one and hang it that way, they can. So on a lot of paintings, I will sign on the edge rather than the front, so that the ultimate owner has the opportunity to maybe hang it upside down compared to how I had in mind. This painting was done probably 20 years ago, and most closely resembles an artist hanging in museums throughout the world. One of his paintings recently sold for over $3 million, but it was twice that size and was previously owned by Eric Clapton. So I'm not intimidated by the fact that this one is not sold. This one is actually a polyctip 4-panel painting called Streaming Eagle, after the Screaming Eagle label of wine. And this, when fully assembled, butted together, is 16 feet long. So this is the same size as Ka-Ching, the one that I showed you in the living room. So all these styles, here again, minimalistic, spirit, and yet it's called Spirit in Flight. And and does resemble, to many people, something with wings, something that is in motion in the air. And moving on, small black and white here. This one should be framed, but and will be eventually. And then again, now these are done in 2015, and again, that should be over here. It's house paint on watercolor paper on a mat. And there again, one of these I refer to as masculine spirit, and the other feminine spirit. And to me, this one looks more masculine when paired with the other. And that is I keep returning to this, and many will compare this to Jackson Pollock style painting. And someone just recently said that if you do this type painting, you can't do this type painting because Jackson Pollock was the only one who did it. Well, Jackson Pollock never put one together that looked like this. And I have no interest in putting together one that looks like one of his. Now, one of my favorite paintings in the world is this painting, and it's 8 feet long, 6 feet high, and I call it number 9, number 9, number 9, which, if I am not mistaken, was a line out of a Beatles tune. And what is not, unless you engage the painting up close, you might miss the textures that are occurring in here. And it is rife with, and you see paint showing through of another color. And you see flat white, you see shiny white, you see the shiny black, and you see there again all these lines and textures and whatever. This painting is 9 paintings, and each one, I had the canvas, I liked the size, and for one reason or another, I was asked to change the painting a number of times over a number of years. And each time it added more interest to the painting. And if I would say which painting would first arrive in a museum, this is my pick. I think this is, in my opinion, museum quality. It's got so much interest going on in it that on multiple levels. You can stare at this for an hour and not find everything that you would like to see in it. And to end the tour, I have several more here. This one was done last week. It's called The Road Less Traveled. And it's difficult in this light to see the burgundy lines in here. I wish I could show you the lines, but with proper lighting, that would be much more obvious. And this is another one where you say, okay, I've got to stop. This is enough. And here again, this is one of my favorite paintings. But there again, it's hard to pick a favorite. This is probably one of my, sometimes this is the favorite painting that I've done, and it was done on cardboard, on poster board, as a lark. The poster board happened to be in the gallery, I was ready to do a larger canvas, and I saw this untouched white piece of poster board. Had the paint out and everything, and so I just threw some strokes together and stepped back, and I said, I've got to stop. At that point, I added a little gold here for mystery or intrigue or whatever, and added the white with the gold here, and pronounced it complete. So behind you is another one more recent thing. Well, this was done in 22, but this was in the series where I was adding more color, not just black, but more color. And this one, because of all the activity in it, I call it glowing current, because it almost is as if there are lines of electricity or energy or something going in all directions. This one is the cask of Amontillado, and there again, black on white. And it's a totally different painting without the spirit. These are pen and ink drawings that I did in 2001. So they've been there quite a while.
Repeat this one. These are paintings. Oh.
These paintings were done in 2001. They are pen and ink on paper, and are some of the older paintings that I have on display. Thank you very much for letting me entertain you. I love sharing my art.
Need lighting on you.
Say again?
Let's go under this light here for the ending.
Okay.
I'll tell you. Okay, much better. All right.
You like that?
And I'll give you the signal here when I get. Just do a little Hollywood smile for me too. Okay, I'm going to make sure we get a good focus, and I think I'll waist up. Okay, let's try that again. Trying to get my perspective. I want a good closing. Kind of like those angles. I can get it to like trying to get your hand, both hands in the body.
Like this?
Well, that's good. Better.
It gives me great pleasure to share my art and my studio with you. Thank you so much for your time.